wakened to wander alone, searching for people that were long lost. In her travels, she fell in love with Girin, the realm of life. Inspired by its bounteous paradise, she brought into existence the Sylvaneth, growing them from soul pods and tending the seedling groves as a mother nurses her children. Each of her creations was a blend of bark flesh and life magic, enriched by the arcane nutrients of the ground in which they were planted, and imbued with echoes of her spirit song. None were more attached to the lands than the Sylvaneth and Alariel. Peace and harmony reigned, and to preserve it, the goddess joined Sigmar's pantheon, helping to build new civilizations. The Sylvaneth propagated, spreading across Girin and out into all the mortal realms. Then came the Age of Chaos. The minions of the dark gods tore down all that was built. Sigmar's pantheon was shattered, and the God King himself retreated behind locked gates to the realm of heavens. Left to survive the onslaught, Alariel and her children fought on alone. They were worn down and beaten back, forced to retreat into hiding. As their lands fared, so fared they, and Girin grew more corrupted and befouled by the day. Yet a new age has dawned. Sigmar has returned, his storm-cast Eternals leading the counterattack. The life goddess herself has been reborn, bringing with her a new cycle. As the Sylvaneth were once driven back, so do they now conquer, reclaiming many places of power. Yet new threats loom. The undead sweep the lands, and the bad moon rises. Her people would retreat once again, but this she cannot allow. The time of sorrows is over. Now is a time for reaping, for the season of war has begun. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm sorry I didn't put out a video last week. But I'm here now. And these guys are visually some of my favorite, I think, in Sigmar. I also love wood elves. The Sylvaneth. They are the watchers in the wood, the gale that howls through forest canopies. They are the fury of the wild places. As changeable as the weather, as merciless as nature itself, they are the Sylvaneth, vengeful forest spirits of terrifying power, and to any who enter their lands unbidden, they are death. Even the bravest warriors have learned to fear the vast tracts of woodland that can be found throughout the mortal realms. Surrounded by trees, it is all too easy to get disoriented and lost, but there is a more primal dread at work. In the forest, one can never be sure what is lurking just out of sight. Sounds are muffled, yet noises seem to come from everywhere. The snapping of twigs, a sinister rustling of leaves, and a creaking in the wind-stirred canopy above. Enemies could lie behind any twisted cluster of vines, with arrows nocked or sharp, bared teeth in hungry anticipation. Many who enter such environments never come out again, and thus do the wise learn to shun the deep woods of the wilderlands. Behind many of the myths and superstitions surrounding the wild woods are the Sylvaneth. The term Sylvaneth covers a host of different creatures, all of which are the offspring of the goddess Alariel, queen of the radiant wood. It was she who planted them all, growing each from seeds that sprouted forth to produce all manner of new creations. Originating in Girin, the realm of life, the Sylvaneth remain strongest there, but have since spread outwards to inhabit all the mortal realms. Wherever they go, the Sylvaneth seek out vitality-rich areas. They make their homes within deep forests and places of natural wonder where life magic gathers, for they themselves are creatures shaped by an arcane blending of flesh, bark, and sinew infused with the living boughs of the wild wood and elder spirits. The Sylvaneth are at one with their forest homes, attuned to their environments in ways beyond the ken of other mortals. It is a symbiotic relationship, and as the forests flourish, so too do the Sylvaneth. The way they move in and out of even the densest terrain seems nothing short of supernatural to outsiders. All children of Alariel, from towering tree lords to the most gnarled of branch wraiths, are connected by the spirit song. No matter the distance they are from Girin to each other, they remain linked by the haunting melody that courses through them. The unifying energies of the spirit song bind the Sylvaneth to the land and other members of their race, so that they live and fight as one people. After ages of battle, the Sylvaneth have grown untrusting of others, becoming aggressive in their protection of their forest homes. At a moment's notice, they stand ready to defend or march out of their arboreal sanctuaries and go to war. Sylvaneth war groves, the term used to describe their armies, advance with a speed which rivals that of the cavalry of other forces. Even clad in thick bark and with bodies of knotted heartwood, creatures such as dryads, tree lords, and tree revenants move with a flowing grace, bending and swaying like branches in the wind. Yet any who suppose the willowy limbs of the tree creatures are weak are soon proven wrong. The gnarled hands of tree lords are more than capable of crushing even heavily armored foes, such as Ironjaw Aurochs, into an unrecognizable mass of crumpled metal, pulped flesh, and splintered bone. Their massive talons batter apart shield walls with contemptuous ease, while their strangle roots shoot outwards to spear through helmet visors or snake through chainmail links, puncturing and stabbing into the vulnerable flesh beneath. The bulk of most Sylvaneth war groves is composed of forest folk, that is, dryads and their spiritual leaders, the branch wraiths. Although once they may have been peace-loving creatures, content to tend the wild places of the realms, that all changed with the coming of chaos. Forced to defend themselves and their sacred sites, the dryads have become battle-hardened. They prefer hit-and-run tactics, charging out of dense forest to strike before fading back into the thickets so quickly that the foe can offer little reprisal. The Sylvaneth known as noble spirits have always been more martial. They are the commanders and champions, the warrior class of their people. The rulers of the clans are the tree lords and tree lord ancients, mighty creatures who tower over the battlefield. In addition to possessing tremendous strength and resilience, tree lords amplify the power of the spirit song, while the ancients are masterful wielders of life magic, which they can use to cause wildwoods, sentient forests, suffuse with powerful spirits, to rise suddenly from the battlefield. Tree revenants are noble spirits that form the standing armies of the Sylvaneth. Appearing as a mixture of elf and tree, these warriors fight with elegant yet deadly enchanted blades. Branch witches serve as warrior matriarchs, sorceresses of the wood that can summon swarms of spites. Small, fairy-like creatures that harry, sting, and harass foes. The tree creatures known as free spirits do not belong to any of the clans, but instead answer directly to the goddess Alariel. When the Sylvaneth spirit song calls for war, the free spirits muster to aid their kin. At the head come the spirits of Durthu, tree lords lit by a mystical inner fire that radiates life magic and can be channeled through their massive blades in a powerful blast. The Kurnoth hunters are beings possessed of both great strength and ability, who fight with blade, bow, or scythe, while the arch-revenants are martial, elf-like champions, born to war upon the wings of symbiotic Zephyr spites, allowing them to perform swift and savage aerial assaults. Strangest of all Sylvaneth are the shunned ones, the outcasts. Spite revenants are sinister beings that are a dark reflection of their kin. They cannot hear the spirit song, save only when it calls for war. During such times they join the clans for battle, where their bitter hatred makes them fierce combatants. However, their cruel and unnatural nature means that they are unwelcome amongst the Sylvaneth during times of peace. Of the horrors committed by the leader of the outcasts, Drycha Hamadreth, the woodland folk speak only in dreadful whisper. For the most critical battles, Alariel the Everqueen leads the Sylvaneth herself. She wears the raiment of war and wields weapons that were ancient when the age of myth was young. Alariel rides to battle upon the back of a gigantic war-droth beetle, and where she passes, the enemy fall before her like wheat before the scythe, while in her wake new life blossoms green and bountiful. Sylvaneth and the Alliance of Order. Most Sylvaneth are noble beings, and all are staunch enemies of chaos. In the past, Alariel has acted alongside Sigmar as part of his pantheon, and her children entered into the Alliance of Order. Yet for all that, the Sylvaneth are still greatly misunderstood, and even feared by other races of their confederation. To humans, Dwarden, and elves, the Sylvaneth seem inconstant, their deeds strange. Indeed, the Sylvaneth are a living dichotomy. On the one hand, they appear as gentle shepherds of the deep wood, fey caretakers of growing things, and protectors of sacred sites. This side of their racial personality is full of beauty, enchanting magics, and wonders of nature. Their other aspect is far more sinister, that of the inhuman stalkers who haunt the woods, cruel and terrifying warriors who strike unseen and kill without warning. The Sylvaneth are not moved by base mortal desires such as amassing plunder or reaping glory. Instead, they are driven to safeguard their places of power and to ensure the continuation of the natural cycles of the mortal realms. Outsiders are often unaware of the mystical seasons that shift and alter the Sylvaneth, making the forest beings seem mysterious and mercurial, wild creatures that are capricious or cruel. The Sylvaneth can thus prove difficult allies, for their motivations often conflict with those they are fighting alongside. For their part, the Sylvaneth find that no others share or even understand their concern for the lands they inhabit and the profound rhythms of existence. Pacts between mortals and forest folk rarely stand the test of time. For a long age, the Sylvaneth had to fight a losing war, forced by endless defeats to hide, striking back from scattered pockets of resistance using guerrilla tactics. Yet extinction has not proven to be their fate, for at last the seasons have changed. Alongside their new allies, the Stormcast Eternals, the Sylvaneth are resurgent and have begun to reclaim their ancestral lands. Long were the withering years, and great the miseries that the Sylvaneth endured. Their endless song grew mournful, and much was lost that could never be replaced. Wrought blight took the spire of emerald dreams. The city of fronds was burned to ash. Crawling things wormed through the pristine heart and brought dreaming Lilandir to ruin. But every waning has its bloom, every death brings life anew. The cycle turns and turns again, and hope springs up once more. From amidst the bloody loam of war it grew, a seed of power. By magic it had been purified. By the lives of beloved ones it had been saved. By the hand of a champion had it been sowed. And now, in the darkest hour, that seed sprouted forth, the goddess renewed. Alariel was reborn, and her children rejoiced. No longer was she a bitter and waning thing, but instead a goddess of war, fully formed and at the height of her powers. With her becoming, the spirit song swelled. Harmonies rose and twined like the branches of some mighty tree. It was a song of vengeance, a song of rebirth, a song of rage. It was a song of war, and for its spiraling chorus, the Sylvaneth drew strength and mustered for battle anew. All across the mortal realms, the Sylvaneth stirred. New life filled them. Shimmering life motes lit the soulpod groves. The thrum of fierce joy and vengeful anger filled Alariel's children. They would be victims no more. Now, the wild woods would be roused to wrath, the invaders be driven out, and the lands cleansed of taint. Now, the Sylvaneth would rise again, as all joined the song of war. And that's where we're going to end this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.